Hello everyone, welcome back to another math lesson. First of all, before we start, great job on your work from last week. You guys did awesome. And I saw a lot of great work, and it seems like you're getting the hang of the fractions, which makes me happy. So if you're still kind of confused on something, or as we're starting a new lesson today, if it's kind of confusing for you, we can Zoom, we can Flipgrid, we can email, but I want to help you guys. So don't feel like you can't email me, just like I said last week. So make sure if you're not getting it, you reach out to me. But after I did the lessons from last week, I was really noticing how much we use fractions every day. And I knew that before, but I feel like everything then, I started using fractions so much. Like when I was baking something, I had to use half a cup of something and a fourth of a cup of something. So those are all examples of how we use fractions. When I was cutting the pizza that my family had for dinner, I cut it into eighths. So those are all examples of how we use fractions every day. So it's super cool that we're learning it now, and I hope that you become more in tune of how fractions are used, and maybe then you could apply your knowledge into, baking and cooking and all that stuff, and let me know what you guys find. And how you guys are using fractions every day too. It's super cool, and it's something that we're going to use forever. So it's really important. This is a super important skill, and I'm so happy that we're doing it now. In perfect timing, because we're all in quarantine and people are baking and cooking, so maybe you'll be able to apply this knowledge right away. Okay, so just like last week, I want you guys to take notes along with me. So if you have your notebook with you, or a piece of paper, or a loose leaf, take that out, grab that so you can take your notes with me, and then also a pencil. And I like to use markers, especially with fractions, or crayons or colored pencils, just because we're going to be shading stuff in. So that kind of helps me color code and visualize it a little bit better with colors. So I have my Mr. Sketch markers here. What flavor we have? I think it's watermelon. So grab your markers, grab your colored pencils, whatever you have, and you'll need them for this lesson too. Okay, so we are going to start with what is a fraction and what does it mean? So a fraction is a number that names part of a whole or part of a number. Okay, so remember, those parts need to be equal, because if you were sharing that pizza with your brother, would it be fair if you cut it so that you got a bigger part? No. So fractions need to be equal parts of a whole. And remember, the whole is like the entire shape, the entire thing. In a fraction, the top number tells how many equal parts are being counted. Okay, and we're going to explain what these mean and we'll visualize it, but for now I just want you to make sure you have the definitions written down. So in a fraction, the top number tells how many equal parts are being counted. The bottom number tells how many equal parts are in the whole or the group. So how many equal parts are in the whole shape or in the whole group? Okay, so this is what a fraction looks like. It's a number on top and a number on the bottom. So let's look back to this one. The number on the top tells how many equal parts are being counted. Okay, the bottom number tells how many equal parts are in the whole or the group. Okay, so let's show this with a picture. I have a picture right here. This is my whole, right? This is my whole shape. I want to show on this shape 1/6. Remember, it's so important that we use that terminology instead of saying one piece or one of the 6 pieces. We need to use that terminology. This is cut into sixths. Kind of hard to say. So I want to show 1/6 of this shape colored in. Okay, so where does the 6 come from? Well, we just said there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts, and I swear they're equal. The drawing is just, it's freehand, so it's not going to be perfect, but I meant to show 6 equal parts. The top number shows how many parts are being counted. Okay, so that's when I need to shade in how many parts. If one of the 6 parts are being counted, how many am I going to shade in here? If you said 1, you are correct. I'm going to shade in one of the parts. So make sure you're drawing this along with me, okay? So I shaded in one of the parts. Okay. And you can shade the whole thing. I just didn't want it to bleed through. There we go. A little bit better. So this picture right now shows one piece of 6 pieces that are colored in. So I only colored in the 1 out of all of the 6. So that represents 1/6. One part's counted, right? I shaded in 1 part. And how many parts in total? Well, there are 6 parts in total. Okay. First example, we'll go through another one. All right, I want to show you with this. If I'm looking at this shape right now, how many parts total do I have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. My little piece fell. Okay, so I have 4 parts total. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to write this as a fraction. Okay, so how many parts do I have total? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that going to go on the top or the bottom? Look at your notes. Total parts is 4, so the total number is going to go on the bottom. So if I'm writing this as a fraction, 4 goes on the bottom because that's how many are total, right? That's how many parts I have altogether. All right, I just shaded in 1 of the 4 parts. So what fraction does that show now? I colored in 1 of all of the 4. What number am I going to put on top? I'm going to put 1 on top because, I'm going to put these together. This right here, I have 4 parts. That's my bottom number. And then I shaded in 1, and that's my top number. So 1/4 is my fraction for this picture. Okay, so this shape right here is 1/4 of the whole. So this is 1/4. If I colored in this, it'd be 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. So each of these little rectangle squares right here are 1/4 of the whole. All right, let's try this one next. Which fraction names the shaded part? Okay, so let's start with our bottom number. And we haven't learned the word for what that means yet, so we're just going to say bottom number for now. You'll see what I mean later. So what fraction names the bottom part? Well, let's start with that. So how many do we have total? Oops, throw my marker around. 1, 2, 3. So my bottom number of my fraction is going to be 3 because that tells me how many parts I have in the whole. So in this case, this is my whole. Whoop, this whole thing's the whole. There are 3 parts to it. Okay, what fraction names the shaded part? Well, how many parts are shaded? Just 1 part, right? So that number goes on the top. 1/3 of the whole is shaded. Just 1 of the 3. Okay, what if I, threw a little curveball here, what if I shaded another part? So now I have 2 parts shaded. 1 part, 2 parts. Well, my bottom number is still going to be 3 because there are still 3 parts here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 on the bottom. Well, how many parts are shaded now? 1, 2. So the 2 is going to go on the top. So now 2/3, that's how I say it, 2/3 of my whole are shaded in. All right, let's try another one. I have a square as my whole. Now I have a couple more pieces shaded in. So start with our bottom number. How many parts are there total? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is going to be my bottom number. That's how many total I have within this whole. Okay, how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 of my 4 pieces, or 3/4 of this whole shape are shaded in. 3/4 of the whole shape are shaded in. All right, are we getting the hang of it? I hope so. I hope we have a lot of examples to help you. And as we go, I hope it gets a little bit more clear and clear. And drawing pictures honestly helps so much. So when I draw out my pictures, I make sure that I'm shading in, and that just kind of helps me visualize it more so than just hearing it. So like I said, make sure you're taking these notes along with us. Okay, let's try this one. They want to know how many equal parts and the fraction for the shaded part. Okay, so first we need to figure out how many equal parts do we have in our whole. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 equal parts. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I have 8 equal parts. What is my fraction for the shaded part? So I'm only caring about, in this case, the shaded part up here. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3 shaded in. Where's that number going to go? So I'm going to take us back to what we did in the beginning. In a fraction, the top number tells how many equal parts are being counted. So if I'm looking here, how many equal parts are being counted, or in this case, shaded? 1, 2, 3. So that number is going to go on the top. What number then is going to go on the bottom? How many equal parts do we have total in this whole shape? We have 8, right? So 8 is going to be on the bottom. So my fraction of or for the shaded part is 3/8. 3 of these 8 triangles are filled in or are shaded in. So we have 3/8 of this shaded in. Okay, so I wanted to go over one that's on your homework tonight, or whenever you guys do this. So the directions say draw a picture of the whole. So this is one part of the whole. It says 1/8 is, and then they give you a square. So what they want you to do is they want you to figure out what the whole is going to look like. So 1/8 is this. So this is 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw one of these. There we go, just one. How many total are there in the whole shape? If I'm looking here, there are 8 of those, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw 8 of those so I can make one whole. So go ahead and do that and see if yours matches mine. Remember, mine's not going to be perfect because I'm freehanding it, but in a perfect world, it would be totally equal. Okay, so let's see if yours matches mine. So I'm going to cover it up. 1/8 is this square. So I drew the 1/8, right? There we go. We need to make sure we have our whole shape taken care of. So this is 1/8. That's 2/8. That's 3/8. 4/8. 5/8. 6/8. 7/8. And 8/8. So do we have our whole shape now? We do. And the direction said draw a picture of the whole, which we did. So on your homework, that's number 4. So I kind of give you the answer for number 4, and I'm going to have you figure out 3 on your own, and I will check those for your homework, okay? Good job, guys. Keep up the great work. There will be a video for 8.4, so make sure you watch that after this one, okay? Great job, guys.